With a savings of $360 on 2G5 phones, Bluegrass Cellular is unlike any other carrier. Shop anytime at BluegrassCellular.com or stop by your nearest location and experience the Bluegrass difference today. Restrictions apply. Bluegrass Cellular, your community expanding.
You know you can depend on WCLE for local news on the air, online.
Their annual cost of living raises cut by 33% for the next 12 years, or until the system is at least 90% funded. A consulting firm hired by the state says the changes would save taxpayers $3.2 billion over the next 20 years. Most of those savings would come from changes to the Kentucky teachers' retirement system. The raises are cost of living adjustments given annually to retired teachers who cannot receive Social Security benefits. Retirees like Meg Judd said teachers depend on those raises to keep up with rising expenses. I'm only given this amount of money to live on, so I've got to stretch it as far as I can, she said, while wearing a sticker declaring my family and I will remember your vote. Other changes include not letting teachers accumulate sick days past July 1st, meaning they can't use them to boost their benefits when they retire. The bill would change the formula for teachers who have worked less than 20 years, encouraging them to work longer to get more generous benefits. The bill also saves money by shifting some of the cost to local school districts. The change would come at a time when some districts are dangerously close to insolvency because of other funding issues. But the state's Republican leaders say the pension system likely failed without the changes. Kentucky has one of the worst funded public pension systems in the country. The state is at least $41 billion short of the money required to pay the benefits over the next 30 years. A recent session of the Barron County Grand Jury has returned several indictments. 38-year-old Michael Edward Carlson of Glasgow was indicted on 10 counts: fleeing or evading police in a motor vehicle, criminal mischief, fleeing or evading police on foot, resisting arrest, operating on a suspended license, no insurance, no registration plate, disregarding a stop sign, reckless driving, and persistent felony offender. 37-year-old Thomas Sutton of Smiths Grove was indicted on 2 counts: possession of a controlled substance and possession of marijuana. 34-year-old Shaquille Cleon Jordan of Glasgow was indicted on 2 counts: possession of synthetic drugs and public intoxication. 54-year-old Tommy D. Paul of Glasgow was indicted on 2 counts: DUI and reckless driving. 22-year-old Dustin Brent Wooten of Glasgow was indicted for 2 counts: possession of synthetic drugs and public intoxication. Remember, an indictment's an accusation only. All individuals should be considered as innocent until and unless proven guilty in a court of law. On Tuesday, Hart County Sheriff Austin Hensley and Deputy Joey Cox arrested 39-year-old Andre Goodman of Horse Cave. Goodman had been indicted by the Hart County Grand Jury in May of 2015, entered into NCIC as a fugitive from justice for possession of a handgun by a convicted felon, wanton endangerment, tampering with physical evidence, terroristic threatening, theft by unlawful taking, alcohol intoxication in a public place. Goodman was also served with 2 Hart County bench warrants for contempt of court on original charges of alcohol intoxication and trafficking in a controlled substance. Goodman was lodged in the Hart County Jail in lieu of a $20,755 cash bond. Andreas Curry was also arrested on a Hart County bench warrant for contempt of court on original charges of flagrant non-support. Both arrests were made as a result of an anonymous tip to the Hart County Sheriff's Office that Andre Goodman could be found at the Horse Cave Motel in Horse Cave. And prosecutors say a Kentucky man who made 5 Molotov cocktails to blow up a school has been sentenced to 20 years in prison without the possibility of parole. U.S. Attorney Russell Coleman said in a statement that 20-year-old Trey Alexander Gwathney Law was sentenced Tuesday by U.S. District Judge Greg Stivers for making and possessing illegal firearms. The statement says Gwathney Law told an acquaintance he'd made the cocktails to blow up Franklin Simpson County Middle School. According to the plea agreement, Gwathney Law made them in 2015 using glass bottles with flammable liquid. 1 Mountain Dew, 1 Sprite, and 2 Dr. Pepper bottles had a cloth wick stuffed inside. A root beer bottle had a carbon dioxide cartridge containing explosive powder and pieces of paper that appeared to have been soaked in the liquid. It's 6:14 a.m. on this Thursday morning and even 30 degrees.
For iPay at the EPB office at 100 Mallory Drive.
Lesenberry Do-It Center is Glasgow's only locally owned hardware store, and that means a lot to me. Lesenberry's has been in business for over 100 years. I walk in the store, they know who I am, and I get the help that I need. For me, Lesenberry's is the easiest place for me to shop, simply because it's a local family-owned business, and I feel comfortable when I'm there. And I'm glad there's still a place like that in Glasgow I can go to.
Hello.
That'll be $349.07. Sir, I can't take that, and that's only about $120 anyway.
But the Magic Man pays 3 times face value at Glasgow Coin and Jewelry. Watch this.
We can make that happen.
Top dollar guaranteed.
Not to be confused with Magic Mike.
Why the name Fire Pit Spirits? Because your beverage of choice is meant to be enjoyed with good friends, celebrating life, happiness, or just the end of a hard week of work. And, as always, it's meant to be consumed responsibly. So, whatever you're celebrating, gather around your fire pit, because good times are made with the ones you choose to keep in your circle. Fire Pit Spirits. Best selection, best service, best friends.
In more local news, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet crews are removing illegally placed items along state-maintained right-of-ways, including signs for political office. Political candidates, residents, business operators, and property owners along U.S. and Kentucky routes are reminded no signage is allowed on right-of-ways other than official highway signs and items approved through a permit process. Again, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet will be removing those signs. It's also illegal to attach items such as flyers, posters, balloons, or streamers to stop signs, highway markers, or other road sign or utility poles. Illegal placement presents additional obstacles and potential dangers, they say, for utility workers. The 2-year budget approved by the Kentucky House doesn't include cuts as severe as some other plans, yet some groups think that it still leads the Commonwealth down the wrong path. The $22.5 million spending plan calls for a 6.25% budget cuts for most state agencies. It would raise new revenue from a cigarette tax increase, a tax on opioid drugs, and the transfer of more than $600 million in dedicated funds. Roseanne Clare works on economic justice for Kentuckians for the Commonwealth. She contends that lawmakers should consider comprehensive tax reform to fill the revenue gap and close some of the more than 300 loopholes that result in billions of lost dollars. Her group also believes that rates should be adjusted so that wealthy Kentuckians pay the same as their low-wage workers. Some lawmakers argue tax breaks are good for the economy, but Clare says there's no evidence to show that tax exemptions, credits, and exclusions having that desired effect.
Not reviewed for how effective they are at actually creating jobs or helping communities, so they need to review and monitor how these different things that we give out to groups, if they really do help us, or is it just a giveaway?
As a retired teacher, Clara says she's especially troubled that the House budget trims more than $460 million from the Kentucky Employee Health Plan. That's more than double the amount the governor proposed.
Money in these accounts should be spent on helping us shore up our pension, not using that money to balance the budget. It's going to be something we're going to have to come back in a couple of years, and we're not getting the root of the problem, which is that we need more revenue now, and we need to close tax loopholes.
Supporters note the plan fully funds state pension systems, invest in the rainy day fund, and keeps the state debt percentage below 6%. And Glasgow police made a drug arrest. Glasgow Police Department responded to Columbia Avenue in reference to someone trying to get inside a closed business. Upon arrival, Officer Zane Greer made contact with 27-year-old Joseph Parker of Glasgow. Parker smelled like alcohol, according to the press release, and was sweating profusely. Also showed clues of being under the influence of drugs. Parker became combative with Officer Greer, headbutted the officer in the face. Parker was arrested, charged with public intoxication, disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, assault third degree, and he was lodged in the Barron County Detention Center. Officer Greer was assisted by Officer Chris Pointer. Right now it's 6:20 a.m. I'm Angela Briggs. This is WCLU News, and it's 30 degrees.
Want to stay in the know on what's...
Growth begins with an idea. At the People's Bank, that idea is to give you the banking service you deserve. We carry out that idea in everything we do. In fact, it's become our motto, working for you. As that idea continues to grow, let us work for you at our new location, 1300 West Main Street, opening this summer. Let us be the place where your ideas begin, where you get the banking you deserve. Come grow with us. The People's Bank, working for you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Glasgow Prescription Center is the culmination of my husband's professional career. When he took over GPC, he didn't want to be just good. He'd already done that. He wanted to be great. And I think his patients would agree that he's done just that. Could he get by with a smaller staff? Sure. The gift shop, the flower shop, delivery people, a brand new facility, none of those things are required to have a pharmacy, but that's why it's not just a good pharmacy, it's a great one. I'm really excited to see what Robert is going to do next because I know he's going to put his heart into it.
Who will be the future face of Pettigo Lessenberry? Through expert analysis, we've confirmed their potential. With intense training, we've prepared them for any occurrence. We've taken their strengths and made them stronger. Now it's time to see what they're made of. Presenting the future face of ISU Pettigo Lessenberry Insurance.
Hello, I'm Jared Pursley. And I'm Daniel Bird. And we're more than prepared to serve you here at ISU Pettigo Lessenberry Insurance. Growing with a proud community since 1902.
BR Tire. We're always on call and we answer the call. We know that's what keeps our loyal customers coming back season after season.
Colburn, 5th in Business Law and Ethics team. Lily Mosley, 2nd in Travel and Tourism team. Cole Stevens, 5th in Marketing Management team. Jaden Stevens, 5th in Food and Marketing. Garrett Tao, 5th in Marketing Management team. Braden Wilson, 6th in Accounting Applications. Anyone wanting a Boys District Championship shirt, please bring money to Miss Kingery by Friday by the end of 3rd block. No late orders. Short sleeves are $8 and long sleeves are $10. Senior trip money is due on April the 13th, 25 school days from now. Students who are interested need to get their money in ASAP. See Mr. Crow for more details. Every 2 seconds, someone in the U.S. needs blood. Share the gift of life. Give, live, love, and donate. The GHS Biomedical Program is holding a blood drive on March 28, 2018. You have to be 16 years or older to donate. 17 and under need parental consent. Sign-ups will begin next week. See Dr. Edberg for more information. This is the McKay Bulls for this week's Scotty Report. Shine on, Scotties, and stay true to the blue.
From the Kentucky News Network, I'm Ed Huckleberry. An abortion-related bill advances in the Kentucky House, winning approval in a committee Wednesday. The measure would ban abortions after 11 weeks if the procedure results in dismemberment of the unborn child. Representative Tom Birch of Louisville believes the bill will be struck down by the courts.
I just have a problem with running a bill through. It's going to cost the taxpayers about $1 million to have it struck down. And to do this for obvious political reasons, to me, is just absurd.
The bill now heads to the full House for consideration. The Kentucky Senate sends a bill to the House that puts an age requirement for marriage. It would require people to be 18 to get married in Kentucky, but would allow 17-year-olds to marry with the approval of a judge. Currently, Kentuckians can marry at the age of 16 or 17 with their parents' approval. Vice President Mike Pence brings President Trump's tough-on-trade theme to Kentucky's bourbon country. Speaking in Versailles, Pence defended the proposed tariffs on European steel and aluminum.
And under President Trump's leadership, we're cracking down on unfair trade practices. We're fighting for trade deals that are fair and reciprocal and put America first.
European leaders have said that if those tariffs are imposed, they will impose tariffs on things like Kentucky bourbon, Levi jeans, and other American-made products. In sports, the Louisville Cardinals moved to the second round of the ACC tournament with an 82-74 win over Florida State Wednesday. Head coach David Padgett on a late rally by the Seminoles.
100 times more nervous about games like that when you have a big lead, especially at halftime, and than actually if you're down. You know, if we're tied or down at the half, I'm actually a lot more calm. But those kinds of games are tough because you know the other team's going to make a run.
U of L now plays Virginia at noon Eastern today in the second round of the ACC tourney. I'm Ed Huckleberry.
This is the Kentucky News Network.
You're rolling like BR Tire on Lovers Lane in Bowling Green and West Main Street.
One, or if you're thinking about a pre-need monument, they're here to make the process as stress-free as possible. With plenty of examples and a multitude of custom options, South Central Kentucky Monuments has the ability to offer you exactly what you want or help steer you in the right direction based on your preferences. Let my friends David, Jerry, and Adam Jesse provide the service and craftsmanship you deserve. To learn more, visit southcentralkymonuments.com.
626 from WCLU. We have 30 degrees this morning. Been a little dusting of snow overnight, so be prepared for that. Could be some slippery spots on some lesser traveled roads here today. In area funeral announcements this hour, Paulette K. Ritchie, age 69, of Glasgow, died Tuesday at her home. Paulette was an owner in Ritchie Pharmaceutical Company of Glasgow. She enjoyed traveling with her family and friends, and she also enjoyed time spent with her knitting friends. She is survived by her two daughters, Dawn Boyder and husband Jim of Glasgow, and Deborah Fox and husband Kerry of St. Petersburg, Florida. 5 grandchildren, James and Jessica Boyder, Tyler, Bailey, and Colin Fox. 1 brother, Roger Klink, and wife Joyce of Wadesville, Indiana. 2 sisters, Dolores Anderson and husband Jerry of Fort Branch, Indiana. And Phyllis Cock and husband Alfred of St. Wendell, Indiana. Service for Paulette K. Ritchie will be Sunday at 2 at A.F. Crow & Son Funeral Home. Burials to be in the Glasgow Municipal Cemetery. Visitation Saturday from 4 until 8 and Sunday morning until time for services. Wilford Wayman Buster Ballard, age 80, of Tompkinsville, died Tuesday while in the company of family members at T.J. Sampson Community Hospital. He was a member of the Oak Hill Church of Christ. The Willow Shade, Kentucky native was retired from Ford Motor Company, where he worked for 30 years. He never missed a day of work during that time. He is survived by 4 daughters, Sheila Wyrick of Greenwood, Indiana, Sherry Cox of Greenfield, Indiana, Tammy Burris of Greenwood, Indiana, and Kim Ford of Indianapolis. 2 grandchildren, Douglas Cox and Brandon Cox, and 1 great-grandson, William Cox, a brother, Randall Ballard of Glasgow. Service for Wilford Wayman Buster Ballard will be at 11 o'clock Friday at the Oakley Tribble Funeral Home. Burial is to be in the Monroe County Memorial Lawn. Visitation will be today from 5 until 8 and Friday from 6 until 11 at the Oakley Tribble Funeral Home. Donations suggested to St. Jordan England, Austin Harper, and Sierra London, and one great-grandchild, Norman England. Funeral services for Roger Dale Harper will be at 1 o'clock Friday at the Butler Funeral Home. Burial will be in the Moore Spring Cemetery. Visitation from 5 until 8 tonight, and after 9 Friday at the funeral home. Megan Shea Crane, age 30, of Glasgow, died Tuesday at her residence. Born in Orlando, Florida, the daughter of the late Timothy Wayne Crane and Kalina Smith Gossett of Cave City, who survives. Mrs. Crane was a member of the Emmanuel Baptist Church and a veteran of the U.S. Navy. In addition to her mother, she is survived by her maternal grandparents, Neil and Carol Crane of Glasgow. 6 uncles, Greg Parker, Junior Smith, Wayne Parker, and Corey Crane, all of Glasgow. Chad Crane of Minnesota and Kenny Crane of Georgia. 2 aunts, Nikki Lane of Glasgow and Katrina Crane of Arkansas. Special cousins, Austin, Justin, Tyler, and Trevor. And her special fur babies, Lucy and Sophia. Funeral services for Megan Shea Crane will be at 1 o'clock on Friday afternoon at the A.F. Crow and Son Funeral Home. Burial will be in the Evergreen Cemetery. Visitation begins this afternoon at 2 p.m. James V. Pointer, age 81, of Horse Cave, died Tuesday at the home of his dear friend Dorothy Carter. He was a native of Barron County, a lifelong farmer, and a former employee of Gamble Brothers in Louisville. He is survived by 3 children, Rick Pointer and wife Marjorie of Fairdale, Beverly Henderson and husband Mike of Lexington, Tim Pointer and wife Cindy of Navarre, Florida, 3 sisters, Helen Bird, Ruby Jean Chapman, and Patricia Rutherford, 3 brothers, Warren, Paul, and Jerry Pointer, and 8 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren. Services for James V. Pointer will be at 11 o'clock on Friday morning at the Wynn Funeral Home, noon Friday at the Loving Springs Church. Burial will follow in the Oddfellow Cemetery in Glasgow. Visitation will be from 5 until 8 tonight at the Loving Springs Church. The Hayes, Watts, and Purcell Funeral Home is in charge of those arrangements. Services for Frances Geraldine Denny, age 74, of Glasgow, will be at 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon at the Hatcher and Sadler Funeral Home. Burial will be in the Glasgow Municipal Cemetery. Visitation begins today at 2 p.m. Service for Alta Rudell Abston, age 82, of Glasgow, will be this morning at 11 o'clock at the A.F. Crow and Son Funeral Home. Burial is to be in the Shiloh Cemetery. Donations can be made to the Shiloh Cemetery. Obituary information is available 24 hours a day at WCLUradio.com. No login is necessary.
The Glasgow EPB is on Facebook and Twitter. Be the first to know when it provides constantly updated information that you can receive via Twitter on your cell phone. Plus, learn great new tips to lower your bill. On Facebook, just search for Glasgow Electric Plant Board and click the like button at the top right. On Twitter, search for the Glasgow EPB, then follow us and have updates linked to your cell phone. The Glasgow EPB, bringing you the future fast.
TJ Regional Health offers a vast array of medical services in our community. The TJ Health Pavilion is home to over 35 family and specialty physicians, outpatient services center, the TJ Urgent Care, and the TJ Pavilion Pharmacy. The TJ Health Cave City Clinic is a walk-in medical care facility providing care 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Stop by and visit one of our locations today.
Like that, you just get used to being around them and you end up being friends with them and stuff, and I think that's kind of how it's going to be like next year too.
Hale's shooting ability can't be denied. She ranks 3rd all-time in 3-point field goals made and 4th all-time in school history for 3-point field goal percentage. Under head coach Justin Stinson, Kaylin Hale was part of many successful teams, playing on 5 teams that won at least 20 games, 2 4th Region Class A championships, 1 Class A state title, 3 15th District runner-ups, 2 15 District champions, 1 4th Region championship, and 1 4th Region runner-up. And the team she's played on had an impressive winning percentage of 74%, including 140 wins and 48 losses. Hale says she owes a lot of credit to her head coach, Justin Stinson.
Yeah, well, he's just taught me a lot of stuff on, because, the transition from middle school to high school is like a really big step in like basketball wise and stuff like that. And so he made that transition easier and like helped me learn the things that I needed to know to be able to be successful.
And as basketball is a team sport, Kaylin Hale sure did have a lot of people to thank for helping her get to where she is. He signs his letter of intent to play at the Campbellsville University. He's a 4-year player at Glasgow High School who carried the ball 262 times for 1,665 yards with an average of 5 yards a carry and 16 touchdowns. On the defensive side of the ball, he was very good with the linebacker position, accumulating 183 tackles, 4 fumble recoveries, 5 interceptions, and 5 sacks. His head coach, Jeff Garman, at Glasgow High School, said that undoubtedly Rescantillo is ready for the next level.
Done everything that we've asked him to do, not only on the football field, but in the classroom. Did well on all of his testing, did well in all of his classes, and just can't say enough good things about him.
Rescantillo had to thank everyone in the room for being a big part of where he is as an athlete and as a person.
Everybody that's here today has played at least one part or made a big impact being in my life today. Y'all have both being to the person I am today. Y'all have shown me what it takes to be the true meaning of a man and how to carry myself around y'all. Even though most of y'all kind of hurt my nerves a lot, but you know.
Coach Garman also added that physically, he's definitely ready to play at the college level.
The one thing that I tell the coaches at Campbellsville is that physically he's going to be ready to play. I mean, he's a really strong kid. Benches over 300, squats over 400. So he's going to physically be ready to be able to go down there and play physically. And that's part of the battle when your first year going to college.
Rescantillo also added that family is very important to him, and he feels like he'll have a second family at Campbellsville University.
More focused on being part of a family. They feel like having a better teammate chemistry amongst each other is better than winning. And the best way to win whenever you win the game. I just feel that that'd be better for me because my whole focus is involved around my family. I feel like I can have another second family there.
He also adds that he would like to study business administration and one day manage a business. In 2017, Silverio earned all Sky Conference honors and all district team honors. In addition, he led the Scotties in rushing yards and was the team's leader in tackles. Congratulations to Silverio Rescantillo on signing your letter of intent to play football for Campbell's University next fall. You can check out the full interviews and video clips online at WCLUradio.com or follow WCLU Radio on Facebook. For WCLU, I'm Wes Royce.
Thank you, Wes. Congratulations to these young student athletes on their advancing to the next level. Today at the Glasgow Christian Academy, Noel Jr. will be signing with Grace College out of Indiana. That's going to be at 2:30 this afternoon out at the Glasgow Christian Academy. It will be signing in the gymnasium. And that's a check. Well, that's not a check of local sports. I got more sports for you right here. I want to give you the scores from yesterday's round 1 of the girls' Sweet 16 tournament. It's heard here on WCLU. A lot of excitement yesterday in the opening round. It was Owensboro Catholic defeating Johnson Central 56-46, and Elizabethtown eliminated Bowling Green 62-41. In the nightcaps last night, George Rogers Clark over Harlan County 70-56, and Mercer County ousted Murray 55-44. Another round of opening games today at 11 o'clock this morning. Mercy out of Louisville will take on Knott County. Then Scott County takes on DuPont Manual at 1:30. Boyd County will take on Webster County in the opening round tonight, and then Ryle will battle with Simon Kenton in tonight's nightcap. All these being played at BB&T Arena up at Northern Kentucky University. Now, that's a check of local sports.
Weather from the WCLU Weather Center. Brought to you by Key Cleaners on Happy Valley Road in Glasgow.
Change in the bottom of your purse? Did you know that loose change could help someone struggling to pay their electric bill? The Glasgow EPB has partnered with Community Relief for a new Roundup program. By agreeing to have your EPB bill rounded to the next highest dollar, the change will be provided to Community Relief to help the less fortunate here in our community. Your spare pennies can make a huge difference for those struggling to pay for their vital electricity. If you're interested in the program, please call the Glasgow EPB at 651-8341.
To push now, the cold air in on a brisk northwest breeze this morning, even colder by tomorrow morning. Clouds in and some flurries around this morning. Partly cloudy this afternoon. 39 degrees, 20 degrees below normal on that brisk northwest wind, 10 to 20 miles an hour. Light and variable winds tonight, 25, clear sky. Tomorrow, increasing clouds and a chance of rain in the afternoon, 47, and a good chance of rain. Saturday, we should dry out. We're in between systems, mostly cloudy, mid-50s. Chance of rain showers. Lows will go back down into the upper 20s Sunday night. I'm meteorologist Ray Stidgick, the Weather Channel, WCLU, your home for local.
Thank you, Ray. We have had just about one tick of the rain gauge overnight with some very light snow that came through, but it was pretty much, it looked kind of pretty out the front window for a little while this morning, but now we're snapping out of that pretty quickly. The winds out of the west-southwest, a little breeze out there. Be aware of that. And we're looking at 30 degrees now at WCLU at 6:43.
What?
44. Coming right back, we're going to be checking the archives. But first things first, we got to get the birthdays going right here. Yeah, you haven't missed the archives. We have them. We just got to take care of all the news here this morning. First things first. But now the archives on the air as actually the birthdays on the air, brought to you by the good folks at Ralphie's Fun Center. Now that's a big deal coming up this weekend. Ralphie's Fun Center is having a Rock and Glow birthday bash. Celebrating, can you believe this? Miss Presley Parker is 18 today. Ethan Sanders is 24. Betty Lou Gross, happy birthday to you. Janetta Richardson. Gary Oliver. Miss Amy Hall is, 21 today. Let me rear back and smack the 50 gong right here. It's 50 today for Danny Vibert. Roxanne Thorpe has a birthday today. Steve Huff is celebrating, and Joe Hurt is 53 today, we understand. And we've got Billy Joe and Doris Moore. My goodness, the Moores are celebrating their 66th wedding anniversary today. Congratulations. 651-9149-800-956-1023. Online, we're here at WCLUradio.com. Thanks to Ralphie's Fun Center for the birthdays.
Would you like to choose when you pay your electric bill? With EPB iPay, you can. iPay allows you to draft money into your electric account online or at our office. The myusage.com website lets you keep track of how much electricity you're using and let you know your current balance. When your account's getting low, you can get reminders to add more money to your electric account by text or email. With iPay, there's no due date, no late fees. Sign up for iPay at the EPB office at 100 Mallory Drive.
Legendary.
So we can get on with the art.
Don't be in a rush to get your agricultural or industrial equipment back up and running. Call Joseph A. Wade Industrial Hardware Services today and get those repairs done before spring. And even if you have a smaller operation or you just need some odds and ends for your home repairs, Joseph A. Wade is here to meet those needs as well. Joseph A. Wade is located on Industrial Drive in Glasgow, family owned and operated since 1985, a Right Tool distributor.
You can feel the difference at Tony Hogan Health Clinic. Tony goes above and beyond when it comes to your health care. From opening early at 7:30 to giving his personal number to patients, just in case.
This is Nurse Practitioner Tony Hogan. If you're already a patient, I want to thank you. If you're not, give me an opportunity to show you the difference. I truly care about your health and well-being.
Call me Mandy at Tony Hogan Health Clinic and let's get you set up with an appointment. 651-6707 or come by at the corner of North Race and Cherry Streets in Glasgow.
6:48 is our time. We are on the air with the archives. Angela.
We are.
Hey, I was going to tell you this. I was doing the research, not really research, just, getting the information together for reporting the scores from Northern Kentucky University last night.
Right.
And, of course, we're broadcasting that. It's the Girls Sweet 16 at a new venue there at NKU. But I was reading the address. You know what the address of Northern Kentucky University's basketball arena is there in Highland Heights? It is on Louis B. Nunn Drive.
Really?
Yeah, so there's a little local twist in there.
Kind of cool.
If you're looking for the gym, which, gyms generally are not that hard to find.
True.
But it is located on Louis B. Nunn Drive.
I would also like to say Joe Kenda was awesome yesterday.
Okay, let's hear about that.
He was just, if you guys have ever seen the show Homicide Hunter on Investigation Discovery, it's a hilarious show. He's got a very dry sense of humor, but he was a homicide detective in Colorado Springs, and his rate for solving the crimes was like 93%, which is unheard of.
That is.
And he was just, he spoke. He was funny, very down to earth, just like very personable. I said, it was crazy how he went from being a police officer to now, he's famous. And he made fun of Tom Cruise, which I loved.
Well, Tom can handle it.
Tom needs it.
So anyway, that's cool. You saw Joe Kenda. For some crazy reason last night, I watched a little of Joe Dirt.
Why? Could you not find the remote or something?
It's just funny.
God, Zach went through a phase. He watched that show constantly.
David Spade with a mullet. It's just too cool.
I'm telling you. It's too something.
All right. So anyway, that's not what we're talking about now. We're going back 100 years. Now listen to this news story. This was in the Glasgow Republican this day in 1918, Angela. And the writer says as follows. For several weeks, smallpox has been prevalent in the New Salem country, but people in that section seem to have paid little attention to it. And as there has been no death, little has been said about it. Well, Monday a doctor was called to see a patient on Columbia Avenue, and it was discovered that there are several cases in the old Williams homestead and at the 3 cottages beside it as well.
How can you ignore smallpox?
Well, because nobody died. That's what the writer explains.
Well, okay, there you go.
No deaths, so nobody said anything about it. But anyway, when they went out there looking, they found some other stuff on Columbia Avenue.
That's crazy.
And then the houses next to it. So, nobody talked about it, I guess.
I would be talking about it.
Hopefully it continued with no death.
Yeah, for real. Nobody's died, so we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, smallpox was a scary thing back in the day.
Evidently not. They ignored it.
This day in 1928, here's a bit of history for you. This was the day in the Glasgow Republican this story appeared. George J. Ellis has taken out its soda fountain.
Uh-oh.
And has installed instead one that's nearly double the size, which is 100% Frigidaire.
Well, there you go.
I knew, and a lot of people knew people who didn't use the word refrigerator. They used the word Frigidaire. And that's what they were doing, talking about this fountain. It says here that milk and cream can be kept indefinitely.
Forever.
And all other drinks, of course, the same. This fountain is up to the last minute, which is an interesting way to put that.
Right.
We usually say it's up to the minute, but this is up to the last minute.
There you go.
And is a valuable addition to their corner drugstore. This is a real, honest-to-goodness, big-town fountain where you are always welcome with a smile and an attendant who is not hard to look at.
There you go. Hey, if you had somebody hard to look at, that might,
I find that you probably wouldn't write that now.
I would just put, they don't have no ugly people working there.
Well, so they had, apparently in 1928 at George J's, there's no way around it, they had cute waitresses.
There you go.
Cute people working at George J's who, by and large, are not too hard to look at.
That's a trip. That's hilarious.
But, hey, better than that, they got a Frigidaire.
Yeah, I guess that would depend on your ranking system.
That's exactly right. 1928. Ah, well. Kept them coming in there for a long time.
Yes, sir.
1938. This is a news story out of Coral Hill.
Okay.
Thieves in Coral Hill Saturday night got about 12 hams and shoulders from Mr. Clarence Jones. I'm telling you, that's a big theft.
Mad.
take 12 hams and shoulders. Those aren't easy to come by.
Not at all.
Unless you go break into Mr. Jones's. I'm sure he was hacked about it, too.
I'd say so.
1948, there's an interesting twist to this story. Huberto Smith, who suffered 3 fractured ribs and a broken collarbone in a fall over at Halifax, Florida, was brought to Sampson Hospital Sunday.
Well,
his nephew, Lindsey Young, went to Florida and accompanied him here. So do you want to ride from 1948 roads to Kentucky out of Halifax, Florida with a broken collarbone and 3 fractured ribs?
There you go.
There's a bump in the road for sure.
I would say so.
But there's got to be more to the story. There's somewhere between here and Halifax you can get treated for that.
Yeah, somewhere.
Unless you just really, I don't know.
Unless you don't know how to get to Halifax.
Well, that's right.
You might be going the wrong way.
That's right. Or they wanted to get the Halifax out of there.
There you go. Oh, where's my bada bing at?
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, man.
Anyway, 1958, here we've got this day Lieutenant Freddie Travis, who is stationed with the Marines at Quantico, Virginia, will remain there this summer as an instructor in the summer camps. And in September, will go to California, where he will be stationed at Camp Pendleton near Oceanside. It is safe to predict that it will not be long thereafter until Lieutenant Travis's mother hops a plane and drops in on Freddie and Sue for a visit.
In other words, FYI, the mother-in-law's coming.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that was his, his mother, Miss Travis. I think it was Miss May Travis was her name. But anyway, the writer here reading this, I couldn't remember where this was. This was a couple of days ago. But now I can tell you where it was.
Okay.
1968, the formal opening of Royster Fertilizer Company. Royster Fertilizer Company at the corner of the Bypass South and the old Bowling Green Road. It was opening up on March the 9th. That is where Midstate Recycling is located now.
Oh, okay.
That's exactly where it was. But it was Royster Fertilizer back in 1968. All right, that was 68. How about 78? Big day right here. 1978, Gene Cady was introduced as the Western Kentucky University's new basketball coach. And, of course, he had an excellent career, and I think he went from Western to Purdue. I was in college back in 1978 when he came, and I got to interview him as a new coach.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. He's a good coach, but he was a really hard guy to interview.
I know people like that.
He didn't want to, stick his neck out anywhere, not for some young punk student.
See, I think those are fun people to interview.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's like they don't want you to nail them down on anything specific.
Well, which I wasn't going to do anyway, but he was a really good coach.
That just makes me want to nail him down on something even more.
Gene Cady. Or maybe he was just nervous about being a new kid in town.
I like nervous people, too.
1988, we have Hiceville Little League homecoming royalty announced.
Okay.
1988 Miss Basketball at Hiceville is Andrea Berry. And Ben Jesse and Jason Stahl tied for 1998 Mr. Basketball. So they had a tie for the Mr., but hands down, Miss Andrea was the winner of the Miss Basketball.
Well, that's a big honor.
It is indeed. You don't forget those things. 1988. 1998, we have this story here. Sad story. A 45-year-old Stephen F. Humphrey of Lick Branch Road is identified as the pilot of a cargo plane that crashed near Clarksville, Tennessee. But apparently Mr. Stephen F. Humphrey was a native of this area of the Lick Branch Road. And 10 years ago, this day, it was a story in the Barron County Progress that Betty Lou Benningfield is the newest employee at the Commonwealth Attorney's Office.
Well,
she will be a victim advocate for the office. And she served with distinction for many years in that office, the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. So that's what we have in the archives today. A little bit of, just a little bit of everything. Hodgepodging along there.
And we got to get the Halifax out of here.
That's exactly right. There you go. Do that one more time.
I love that rim shot.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I haven't saved his Bada Bing, though.
Okay, all right. Well, see, I don't even know how to spell that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really either.
We'll do more archives tomorrow. There's lots of memories to be made yet, and we thank the folks who do the digging at the South Central Kentucky Cultural Center, the folks who have our back when it comes to keeping up with history around here.
And not way on back.
No, that's right. It's just so much there to enjoy, and I know they've been overwhelmed down there, partially because they're busy, partially because of the fact that they need volunteers.
Yeah, get yourself down there, people.
Do you want to work with some folks who are really smart and really nice and really enjoy? And
get off Facebook. Go volunteer.
That's right. You can do, well, I don't say you can do both because I don't think you can. But anyway.
I mean, you could, but.
Well, you mess
You could post
up
about all the marvelous things you saw while you were volunteering.
It is
it's
a marvelous place. So they need people to help out. So volunteer, make it happen. And thanks to our sponsors, Joseph A. Wade Industrial Hardware Services, as well as brought to you by the Tony Hogan Health Clinic. 6:59, I'm adding Margie Haskins to the birthday list today. Happy birthday to Miss Margie Haskins.
Do It Center is Glasgow's only locally owned hardware store, and that means a lot to me. Lessonberry's has been in business for over 100 years. I walk in the store, they know who I am, and I get the help that I need. For me, Lessonberry's is the easiest place for me to shop, simply because it's a local family-owned business, and I feel comfortable when I'm there. And I'm glad there's still a place like that in Glasgow I can go to.
Continuing to push now, the cold air in on a brisk northwest breeze this morning, even colder by tomorrow morning. Clouds in and some flurries around this morning. Partly cloudy this afternoon. 39 degrees, 20 degrees below normal on that brisk northwest wind, 10 to 20 miles an hour. Light and variable winds tonight, 25, clear sky. Tomorrow, increasing clouds and a chance of rain in the afternoon, 47, and a good chance of rain. Saturday, we should dry out. We're in between systems, mostly cloudy mid-50s. Chance of rain showers Sunday, upper 40s. Lows will go back down into the upper 20s Sunday night. I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic, the Weather Channel, WCLU, your home for local.
All right, Ray, thanks a lot. Let's look at the current conditions. The barometric pressure is at 30.02. The winds are the west-southwest at 8 miles an hour. No precip in the past 24 hours. Well, maybe one little tick at the most because of the fact that we did have a little bit of sprinkling, dusting of snow, as it were. And right now we are at 30 degrees, hanging in there at WCLU. Weather brought to you by South Central Bank.
All too often, we let the bad deals that we've been handed in life consume us. You know how it is. Things don't go our way. We get angry. If it's bad enough, sometimes we get angry with God. We live with regret. We're always walking around feeling like a victim. But what if we approach life in this fashion? James chapter 1 at verse 2, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. Now, have you thought about this? How different your life would look if you took all the different challenges you found in life as an opportunity to become more godly. You think you'd be happier? You think you'd be more successful? Oh, God knows that you would be. This has been Bart Warren for the South Green Street Church of Christ.
40% off.
Hello.
That'll be $349.07. Sir, I can't take that, and that's only about $120 anyway.
But the Magic Man pays 3 times face value at Glasgow Coin and Jewelry. Watch this.
We can make that happen.
Top dollar guaranteed.
Not to be confused with Magic Mike.
Why the name Fire Pit Spirits? Because your beverage of choice is meant to be enjoyed with good friends, celebrating life, happiness, or just the end of a hard week of work. And, as always, it's meant to be consumed responsibly. So, whatever you're celebrating, gather around your fire pit, because good times are made with the ones you choose to keep in your circle. Fire Pit Spirits. Best selection, best service, best friends.
To tell you about our person of the day, because we have 3, and this is a request. And so let me get over here and read this particular submission that was submitted by a lady named Carol Lamb. Today we're patting Candy Mills, Tiara Bush, and Caleb Bush on the back. Now, in the category of reason for nomination, she says, they are my kind, loving, and always supportive children. They all deserve this special day. So that's enough to make it special, Carol. So if you happen to see Candy or Tiara or Caleb around today, pat them on the back. Congratulate them for being good kids, and let them know they're good as gold. From WCLU and a little taste of Texas.
Cattleman's Livestock Market will
begins
conduct
with an idea. At the People's Bank, that idea is to give you the banking service you deserve. We carry out that idea in everything we do. In fact, it's become our motto, working for you. As that idea continues to grow, let us work for you at our new location, 1300 West Main Street, opening this summer. Let us be the place where your ideas begin, where you get the banking you deserve. Come grow with us. The People's Bank, working for you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Glasgow Prescription Center is the culmination of my husband's professional career. When he took over GPC, he didn't want to be just good. He'd already done that. He wanted to be great. And I think his patients would agree that he's done just that. Could he get by with a smaller staff? Sure. The gift shop, the flower shop, delivery people, a brand new facility, none of those things are required to have a pharmacy, but that's why it's not just a good pharmacy, it's a great one. I'm really excited to see what Robert is going to do next because I know he's going to put his heart into it.
Who will be the future face of Pettigo Lessenberry? Through expert analysis, we've confirmed their potential. With intense training, we've prepared them for any occurrence. We've taken their strengths and made them stronger. Now it's time to see what they're made of. Presenting the future face of ISU Pettigo Lessenberry Insurance.
Hello, I'm Jared Pursley. And I'm Daniel Bird. And we're more than prepared to serve you here at ISU Pettigo Lessenberry Insurance.
Growing with a proud community since 1902.
A&W All-American Foods, Mark Coates, he's always out there making sure that the quality of the food that comes out is the best you've ever had. And that works out every time out there. He's got a good staff out there, too. Mark seems to be a good teacher of process and how to get the job done. So, here we go with the trivia question today, 651-9149 or 800-956-1023. Chemical element gives the blood of a lobster a bluish tint. Yes? I guess it's a biological question here today. What chemical element gives the blood of a lobster a bluish tint? Blue on blue. What do you think it is?
Iodine.
Not iodine. What chemical element gives the blood of a lobster a bluish tint? You know, you've heard of blue bloods. I think maybe lobsters were the original blue bloods. Trivia.
Copper.
That's it. Who's this speaking?
It's Benny Lyle.
Benny, what are you doing?
Well, I'm going to make a little detour this morning over by High School Elementary and read to some kindergarten students.
Okay, well, that'd be fun. That'd be real fun.
Yeah, it will be. Looking forward to it.
So, but, you know, this is like you did good. You got in at the end of the last month and the early part of this month, so you're back on track, Benny.
There we go, yeah.
So what do you know about that?
I know it was a lucky Google search.
Yeah, well, it is true. There's there's copper in the blood of lobsters.
Right, and obviously having to do with oxygen too because of transport and how all that works. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, nonetheless, see a lobster, a true blue blood, not because of dedication to purpose, but because of the copper in their blood.
Yeah, right. Now I don't know about you, Henry, but that's not on my evening dinner plate every night.
Lobster, it's just a want.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah, I enjoy lobster, but I don't want it in. It's really so rich. You wouldn't want to eat like a, I don't know, like a whole bunch of it. It'd be hard. Your blood might turn blue too.
Well, about once every 10 years is about what I get.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of seafood I like, but anyway, I like going to Long John's and getting the fishing more. You know why? Because you get to have it too today, Benny.
Absolutely.
You'll feel good about it. And hope you have a good day, sir, and be careful and have fun reading to the kids, okay?
All right. Thank you.
See you. Bye-bye. Benny Lyle. Dr. Benny Lyle. Better get that in there because, he worked really hard to get that nomenclature on his name. But Dr. Benny Lyle knows that it's the blue blood of a lobster is blue because of copper. And that's what you have. If you've ever been around copper much and have seen copper that's got a little bit of age on it, it's always kind of got a little bluish tint in there where it's weathered. All right. That's enough of trivia today. But we'll crank it back up tomorrow. Who knows when you can roll in here and be a winner. Thanks to Long John's A&W.
CBS News update. New England is now getting the brunt of that big nor'easter, and this man was driving in Worcester, Mass., but not for long.
People need to get off the road so emergency vehicles can get there. I'll be getting off the road as soon as possible. But it's a mess out here. Get off the road.
WCBS TV's Mark Liverman is in Wyckoff, New Jersey, where drivers might have been better off staying home.
A lot of drivers headed westbound. They were barely getting enough traction to actually go up a hill. We even saw some headed in the wrong direction. They were hoping to backtrack to an exit. What made it even worse, plows were working to clear the roadways. They were trapped in the backed up traffic.
The shovelers are out, and wet snow has brought down trees and power lines. This man lives in Croton-on-Hudson, north of New York City.
They said it's supposed to be on tomorrow night, but there's a ton of trees and stuff down on our road in that area, so I don't know. It might be a lot longer than that.
More than 900,000 customers are without power in the Northeast. CBS News Update. I'm Peter King.
This is WCLU Glasgow, WCLU FM.
Our Tire. We're always on call and we answer the call. We know that's what keeps our loyal customers coming back season after season, year after year. With so many vying for your business, improving our service is not just a good practice, it's a necessity. From our easy-to-navigate website to our easy-to-deal-with service department, we work hard to make it easy for you to choose us. No one keeps you rolling like BR Tire on Lovers Lane in Bowling Green and West Main Street in Glasgow.
The Glasgow EPB is on Facebook and Twitter. Be the first to know when the EPB makes improvements such as new channels or new services. Wondering what's going on during an outage? The EPB provides constantly updated information that you can receive via Twitter on your cell phone. Plus, learn great new tips to lower your bill. On Facebook, just search for Glasgow Electric Plant Board and click the like button at the top right. On Twitter, search for the Glasgow EPB, then follow us and have updates linked to your cell phone. The Glasgow EPB, bringing you the future fast.
TJ Regional Health offers a vast array of medical services in our community. The TJ Health Pavilion is home to over 35 family and specialty physicians, outpatient services center, the TJ Urgent Care, and the TJ Pavilion Pharmacy. The TJ Health Cave City Clinic is a walk-in medical care facility providing care 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Stop by and visit one of our locations today.
All right, here we are at 7:12 now, WCLU. Let me give you a bit of information right here. Listen up. Just talked with Fred Rigdon. Fred Rigdon is on his way to Bowling Green from Glasgow, and he says that it's so slippery on the bridges and overpasses that we really need to be very, very careful. I think he even, maybe might have felt a little fishtail when he was just driving over a bridge at a safe speed. So, a little heads up out there, folks. We are at 30 degrees. We're below freezing, and we had some moisture overnight. Not something that tripped up a big bunch of numbers in the rain gauge, but sounds really, really dangerous. And he has made that notation on I-65 headed toward Bowling Green. But now you can only imagine that some of the other lesser traveled roads with bridges and overpasses might even be worse. So let's factor that in and drive with caution this morning. Thanks to Fred Rigdon for sharing that information. And obviously, it's really easy to get in touch with us so we can get everybody where they need to be safe. But this sounds pretty tricky this morning. Let's go to the newsroom and News Director Angela Briggs. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning, Henry. Prosecutors say a Kentucky man who made 5 Molotov cocktails to blow up a school has been sentenced to 20 years in prison without the possibility of parole. U.S. Attorney Russell Coleman said in a statement that 20-year-old Trey Alexander Gwathney Law was sentenced Tuesday by U.S. District Judge Greg Stivers for making and possessing illegal firearms. The statement says Gwathney Law told an acquaintance he made the cocktails to blow up Franklin Simpson County Middle School. According to the plea agreement, Gwathney Law made them back in 2015 using glass bottles filled with flammable liquid. 1 Mountain Dew, a Sprite, and 2 Dr. Pepper bottles had a cloth wick stuffed inside. A root beer bottle had a carbon dioxide cartridge containing explosive powder, pieces of paper that appeared to have been soaked in the liquid. A bill cutting benefits for retired public school teachers cleared a key hurdle in the Kentucky legislature yesterday over the loud protest from educators chanting, "Vote them out." A state Senate committee voted 7-4 to advance Senate Bill 1. It's the first step for the bill to become law. If approved by the Senate and House of Representatives, retired teachers would see their annual cost of living raises cut by 33% for the next 12 years, or until the system is at least 90% funded. A consulting firm hired by the state says the changes would save taxpayers $3.2 billion over the next 20 years. Most of those savings would come from changes to the Kentucky teacher retirement system. The raises are cost of living adjustments given annually to retired teachers who cannot receive Social Security. Other changes include not letting teachers accumulate sick days, meaning they can't use them to boost their benefits when they retire. The bill would change the formula for teachers who work less than 20 years, encouraging them to work longer to get more generous benefits. The bill also saves money by shifting some of the cost to local school districts. The change would come at a time when some districts are dangerously close to insolvency. But the state's Republican leaders say the pension systems would likely fail without the changes. Kentucky has one of the worst funded public pension systems in the country. Last week, the House of Representatives approved a 2-year budget that would put more than $3.3 billion back in the pension system, or nearly 15% of all state spending. The proposed changes come during a time of increased tensions in public education. Thousands of teachers in nearby West Virginia went on strike recently in an effort to secure a 5% pay raise. Lawmakers there eventually agreed, but not before schools were closed for days. Teachers and staff at 28 schools in 8 central Kentucky districts plan a walk-in protest this morning, where they'll all gather outside of their schools and walk in together. Brent McKim, president of the Jefferson County Teachers Association, that represents the state's largest school district, says leaders hope to avoid a strike, but added anything is possible. A recent session of the Barron County Grand Jury's returned several indictments. 38-year-old Michael Edward Carlson of Glasgow was indicted for 2 counts of fleeing or evading police, criminal mischief, resisting arrest, operating on a suspended license, no insurance, no registration, disregarding a stop sign, reckless driving, and persistent felony offender. 37-year-old Thomas Sutton of Smiths Grove was indicted on 2 counts, possession of a controlled substance and possession of marijuana. 34-year-old Shaquille Cleon Jordan of Glasgow was indicted on 2 counts, possession of synthetic drugs and public intoxication. 56-year-old Tommy Paul of Glasgow was indicted on 2 counts, DUI and reckless driving. 22-year-old Dustin Brent Wooten of Glasgow was indicted for 2 counts, possession of synthetic drugs and public intoxication. Remember, an indictment's an accusation only. All individuals should be considered as innocent until and unless proven guilty in a court of law. Glasgow Police Department responded to Columbia Avenue in reference to someone who was trying to get inside a closed business. Upon arrival, Glasgow officer Zane Greer made contact with 27-year-old Joseph Parker. According to the release, Parker smelled like alcohol and was sweating profusely, showed additional signs of being under the influence of drugs. Parker became combative with Officer Greer, headbutted him in the face. Parker was arrested, charged with public intoxication, disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, assault 3rd degree, and was lodged in the Barron County Detention Center. Officer Greer was assisted by Officer Christopher Pointer. It's 7:18 a.m., 30 degrees.
Do you drop your change in the bottom of your purse? Did you know that loose change could help someone struggling to pay their electric bill? The Glasgow EPB is partnered with Community Relief for a new Roundup program. By agreeing to have your EPB bill rounded to the next highest dollar, the change will be provided to Community Relief to help the less fortunate here in our community. Your spare pennies can make a huge difference for those struggling to pay for their vital electricity. If you're interested in the program, please call the Glasgow EPB at 651-8341. To choose when you pay your electric bill. With EPB iPay, you can. iPay allows you to draft money into your electric account online or at our office. The myusage.com website lets you keep track of how much electricity you're using and lets you know your current balance. When your account's getting low, you can get reminders to add more money to your electric account by text or email. With iPay, there's no due date, no late fees. Sign up for iPay at the EPB office at 100 Mallory Drive.
Lesenberry Do-It Center is Glasgow's only locally owned hardware store, and that means a lot to me. Lesenberry's has been in business for over 100 years. I walk in the store, they know who I am, and I get the help that I need. For me, Lesenberry's is the easiest place for me to shop, simply because it's a local family-owned business, and I feel comfortable when I'm there. And I'm glad there's still a place like that in Glasgow I can go to.
In more local news, an anonymous tip leads to 2 arrests. The Hart County Sheriff's Office received an anonymous tip that 39-year-old Andre Goodman, who had an active arrest warrant, was at the Horse Cave Motel. Sheriff Boston Hensley, along with Deputy Joey Cox, both went to the hotel and found Goodman, along with 39-year-old Andreas Curry. Goodman had been indicted back in May of 2015 for possession of a handgun by a convicted felon, wanton endangerment, tampering with physical evidence, terroristic threatening, theft by unlawful taking, and alcohol intoxication. Goodman was also served 2 Hart County bench warrants for contempt of court on original charges of trafficking in a controlled substance and alcohol intoxication. Goodman was lodged in the Hart County Jail in lieu of a $20,755 cash bond. Curry was also served an active Hart County bench warrant for flagrant non-support. He was lodged in the Hart County Jail in lieu of a $365 cash bond. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet's giving fair warning to all political candidates, residents, business operators, and property owners along U.S. and Kentucky routes that signs in the right-of-way will be removed. In particular, as we head through an election cycle, campaign signs must be placed beyond the right-of-way limits. Mowing begins in May. These signs cause significant delays to mowing crews. Removed items are taken to each county's KYTC maintenance facility and held for 1 month. After that, unclaimed materials will be trashed or recycled. The 2-year budget approved by the Kentucky House doesn't include cuts as severe as some other plans, yet some groups think it still leads the Commonwealth down the wrong path. The $22.5 million spending plan calls for a 6.25% budget cut for most state agencies. It would raise new revenue from a cigarette tax increase, a tax on opioid drugs, and a transfer of more than $600 million in dedicated funds. Roseanne Clara works on economic justice issues for Kentuckians for the Commonwealth. She thinks the proposal will lead to more significant budget cuts.
We've had 18 rounds of budget cuts over the last 10 years. And that's
5th in food marketing. Garrett Tao, 5th in marketing management team. Braden Wilson, 6th in accounting applications. Anyone wanting a boys district championship shirt, please bring money to Miss Kingery by Friday by the end of 3rd block. No late orders. Short sleeves are $8 and long sleeves are $10. Senior trip money is due on April the 13th. 25 school days from now. Students who are interested need to get their money in ASAP. See Mr. Crow for more details. Every 2 seconds, someone in the U.S. needs blood. Share the gift of life. Give, live, love, and donate. The GHS Biomedical Program is holding a blood drive on March 28, 2018. You have to be 16 years or older to donate. 17 and under need parental consent. Sign-ups will begin next week. See Dr. Edberg for more information. This has been McKay Bowles for this week's Scotty Report. Shine on, Scotties, and stay true to the blue.
At Heritage 76 Barbershop, they figured
for iPay at the EPB office at 100 Mallory Drive.
Lesenberry Do-It Center is Glasgow's only locally owned hardware store, and that means a lot to me. Lesenberry's has been in business for over 100 years. I walk in the store, they know who I am, and I get the help that I need. For me, Lesenberry's is the easiest place for me to shop, simply because it's a local family-owned business, and I feel comfortable when I'm there. And I'm glad there's still a place like that in Glasgow I can go to.
Hello.
That'll be $349.07. Sir, I can't take that, and that's only about $120 anyway.
But the Magic Man pays 3 times face value at Glasgow Coin and Jewelry. Watch this.
We can make that happen.
Top dollar guaranteed.
Not to be confused with Magic Mike.
727 WCLU and 30 degrees. We'll check in with Ray Stajic in a moment, but we're just going to be reminding you again about the travel issue that we had information from travelers on I-65 that because of the temperature, which is 30 degrees, because of the moisture we had overnight with the snow activities, let's see. And we do have a few snowflakes falling outside right now. You add all that up, we got to be careful to not slip and slide, particularly over the... Let's turn to sports. This week, the ink pens have been used quite a bit as 2 standout student athletes signed their letters of intent to play college sports. Ladies basketball, Kaylin Hale will play at Lindsey Wilson College. And in football, Saverio Rescantelio will be playing at Campbellsville University. WCLU's Wes Royce has more on this story.
Glasgow High School athletic program had 2 different student athletes sign their letters of intent to play at the next level. It was senior Kaylin Hale for the Lady Scotties basketball team who signed her letter of intent to play at Lindsey Wilson College next year, and also Saverio Rescantelio signed his letter of intent to play football at Campbellsville University. Kaylin Hale played 6 years for the varsity Lady Scotty basketball team, and during those 6 years she played in 154 games. She says being a freshman at the college level won't be such a challenge because she's used to playing up to the players around her.
Yeah, well, I learned how, when I was in middle school, I learned how to work with those older girls, and like when going to practice with the girls that you don't know and stuff like that, you just get used to being around them, and you end up being friends with them and stuff, and I think
congratulations to these young student athletes for signing those letters in the
meant to be enjoyed. Gather around your fire pit because good times are made with the ones you choose to keep in your circle. Fire Pit Spirit.
Growth begins with an idea. Let us work for us. The people's professional career.
Breeze at times.
Of Pedigo Lesenberry. Through expert analysis, we've confirmed their strengths and made them stronger. Now it's time to see what they're made of. Presented Lesenberry and...
What am I talking about? I want Ralphie's Fun Nursery.
Pedigo.
We know that's what keeps...
Like Christ, we will often...
Everything is more fun when it's in the water. Call me now. Classes fill up quickly. 651-3036.
The Glasgow EPB is on Facebook and Twitter. Be the first to know when the EPB makes improvements such as new channels or new services. Wondering what's going on during an outage? The EPB provides constantly updated information that you can receive via Twitter on your cell phone. Plus, learn great new tips to lower your bill. On Facebook, just search for Glasgow Electric Plant Board and click the like button at the top right. On Twitter, search for the Glasgow EPB, then follow us and have Glasgow EPB, bringing you the future fast.
Tell you about our Good as Gold honorees today by special request. We're patting 3 folks on the back. It is Candy Mills, Tiara, and Caleb Bush Day on the radio. Now, here's the nomination form that we received from Carol.
Health Pavilion is home to over 35 family and specialty physicians, outpatient services center, the TJ Urgent Care, and the TJ Pavilion Pharmacy. The TJ Health Cave City Clinic is a walk-in medical care facility providing care 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Stop by and visit one of our locations today.
EPB is partnered with Community Relief for a new Roundup program. By agreeing to have your EPB bill rounded to the next highest dollar, the change will be provided to Community Relief to help the less fortunate here in our community. Your spare pennies can make a huge difference for those struggling to pay for their vital electricity. If you're interested in the program, please call the Glasgow EPB at 651-8341.
All right, going to be a great sale indeed, so don't you dare miss it. 746 at WCLU. Speaking of great sales, indeed, here's a guy that's always got something over there that you can afford, and you can afford to drive it, and you'll be glad you can. It's Hurt Auto Sales at 621 West Main Street in Glasgow, just up the hill here. Bobby, you've been on a hillside up there. How'd you do in that wind?
I tell you what, we had the record winds up here on the hill.
Yeah.
But we did survive. Okay?
Somebody's keeping the records up there, huh?
That's right. Keeping the records. They went everywhere. Okay?
I remember back, years ago, just down the street, where Richardson Electric is. Used to be Preston Ropp Chevrolet there.
Correct.
And they had a used car lot over there that had these big, long stringers of triangle-shaped, different-colored pinnacles that waved in the air all the time.
Right.
And I was thinking about that. Yeah, I was thinking about that when the wind came up there the other day, thinking, wow, how much have they withstood with all the wind blowing up there back in the day?
But it put a hard knot on them,
Yeah, it probably did. But you made it. Yeah, that's right. The person in charge of taking them up and putting them down would really be hacked.
They sure would. It'd blow everywhere, that's for sure.
Well, speaking of good deals at Hurt Auto Sales, I know you've been out on a fishing trip. I know you've been reeling in some good bargains because that's just what you do. And I want to give you a moment to tell us about that, Bobby Lee.
We just got in an 06 Jeep Wrangler, 6-cylinder, 6-speed, low miles, 4-wheel drive, really sharp vehicle. And we've got it priced for just $12,900.
When you get a Jeep Wrangler, you can't keep it very long, and that's why, because you don't try to, retire off of it. You just price it fair, and people jump all over it.
It is a good price, and it's a really sharp-looking Jeep if you're looking for
really.
And cutting up with you. What's the year on this?
It's a 2010, okay?
Okay, and it's a stow and go.
Stow and go, that's right.
Everybody needs to check that thing out, yeah, for sure.
Like I say, just give them a roll call, and you'll find them in there somewhere.
That's right. Make sure that's right. Just answer.
That's right. And last but not least, Henry, got an 07 Chrysler Sebring, little 4-door sedan, excellent condition.
Mm-hmm.
We've got it priced to sell for just $3,500. Okay?
Every time, we're going to have to start singing that song. Every time you have a new Chrysler, we're going to say, we'll have to do a duet. Got me a Chrysler, it's as big as a whale, and it's ready to set sail. And they maybe don't necessarily like how it drives, but when they're pulling back in from the test drive, they look around and they find 15 others that they might like. So
that's right.
What a wonderful place to shop, Bobby Lee. It's Hurt Auto Sales, 621 West Main Street, Glasgow, KY. Survived the hillside wind, and now they're ready to hook you up with your next vehicle using the time-proven motto of
no pain when you trade with Hurt.
All right, Bobby Lee, you enjoy your day, sir.
I most certainly will, and you also.
Thank you. Have a good one. Mm-hmm.
Saving money on feeding your
The Glasgow Barron County Retired Teachers Association is going to have their quarterly meeting at Shoney's Restaurant. Tim Abrams, who's going to be the guest speaker, is from the KRTA. He's the executive director there. And the winner of the grandparent essay will be recognized. Now, I can't imagine, also this morning at 10 o'clock until 5:30 this afternoon, the Mary Wood Weldon Library is having a Color Me Calm event today from 10 until 5:30.
The Heritage 76 Barbershop are going to be. You can come down there and watch the free, the weekly tournament events that are taking place with basketball, and I think they're going to be listening in for during the day on our coverage of the tournament, the Sweet 16 tournament.
They got a big screen down there too. Big screen.
So they wanted me to pass along that you can come down there and hang out for free and watch all the stuff going on with the tournament and in the NCAA as well. And they've always got a little Feinbaum on there, and
that's going to be a calming event too. Just sit down there, sit in the chair, relax,
chew a little fat,
and look at the look at whatever event that they're watching sports-wise.
Was down at People's Bank, they broke a little ground with some concrete. Yeah, they poured. We actually got out there at 8 o'clock, and they already had it poured.
Well, I was thinking you've got some video of that you wanted to show for one of our customers.
Yeah, I've got some video. I don't have it. I don't have it up for us today, but I'll have it up probably tomorrow. We've got a. They had one of those pump cranes, that comes over the top and poured their slab, and they'll be putting up some steel on Monday. So we're going to go set up a time lapse and kind of watch that go up like an erector set. Should be neat.
I could say something, but I wouldn't.
Okay.
Because Mark, you don't want it to
drive.
right there, so we can find out what we need to take care of for you. I do want to repeat again about Fred Rigdon talking about how that the bridges and overpasses are slippery on I-65. As he was in between here in Bowling Green about a half an hour ago. But the reason why I bring that back up is because the temperature hadn't gone up any. It's still 30 degrees, and we still got some snow out there. So let's be aware of that. Drive with caution. Make sure we get where we're going safely today. We're not used to March the 8th being a snow travel day, but it has become one, and I want you to be aware of that. By the way, tonight there's going to be a neat deal. It's a workshop on work ethic. Yes,